I want to say thank you, Jamie, for joining us. She is our newest mentor. So if you haven't met Jamie, wave.
Well, or if you have met her, you could still wave.
I'm waving, Jamie.
Who can digitally waving with two hands.
I'm waving too.
Is there anybody who doesn't know Jamie? Charlene, do you know Jamie?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we met.
Oh, yeah. Okay, great. I wasn't sure. I know you've both been to New York and maybe met.
We were in your last session.
Oh, yeah, the last training. Yeah, awesome. Okay, so yeah, everybody knows Jamie.
Okay, well, great. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Actually, what I will also add about Jamie's onboarding is that we have a formal process for onboarding mentors now, which is that a new mentor shadows an existing mentor through one full mentoring process. And I wish that the New York folks were here so that we could talk more about that, because I think we have some opportunities there for fostering mentors. I will also say that mentors are required to have YFA certification. So they have to have gone through level 2 and they have to be current in their certification status, which means that they have to re-certify every 3 years in order to maintain their status as mentors. But not necessarily everyone who gets certified as, in level 2 YFA is ready or appropriate to be a mentor. So I'll say that that we are making those decisions on a case-by-case basis. So if you, as a teacher trainer, think that somebody has a lot of potential and really is skilled and experienced in this area and is interested in moving on with the material, all of you tend to teach the level 1 training. So certainly the first step is encouraging them to just do level 2. But also I'm keeping an eye on who does level 2 that might want to become a mentor and might be a good fit for that work. So keep in touch with me. And I would say to the New York folks, because you guys have a lot of certified teachers up there, let me know if there's somebody up in New York who's interested in mentoring and you think would be a good fit for the work. Okay. Any questions about that? So Jamie, have you gotten your first independent clients yet? Are you doing any active mentoring now that you've finished preparing to do so?
I thought that at least through the Yoga for Arthritis path that they would be assigned to me. So
yeah, they will.
I am mentoring in my work, in my practice. Yes.
No. I mean Yoga for Arthritis. So we haven't sent you anyone yet.
No.
Okay. All right. Yes. Stay tuned, because we have a lot of trainings happening this year. So we're keen on getting you started.
Okay, great. Me too. Thank you.
And actually, Krista.
Yes.
Can you just fill us in on where people are in the pipeline? So I think, and maybe some of the folks on the call can do that as well. I think there are several people who have finished mentoring and are ready for level 2, or who are in the process headed toward that. Yeah,
actually what I'm going to do, I will let you individual mentors say how you're doing with your people, because we to get the time to fit you in. We have our admin stuff, but our last call we kind of hogged it, so we'd like to let you have that time, and then I'll do a circle back around in case we didn't cover anybody in that. And
perfect.
Jamie, I'm going to toggle you off and Charlene on to see if her camera's working, so that when she speaks,
right.
we can see her.
Yeah, and I see Jamie on.
Okay, so yeah, so you can do that with each one. So if you put Charlene on, maybe Charlene, you can tell us what's going on with your mentees. We can still only see the wall, but nonetheless.
I don't understand it. I can now see myself clearly. It's crazy.
Well,
This
it's
is
good
so
to see
crazy.
yourself clearly, literally and metaphorically,
I'm in this very
spiritually.
I'm in this very high tech office here where I have a Surface and it's plugged into two different
Charlene,
monitors. Can you hear me?
yeah, just give up on the video and tell us
Yeah,
how
I
things
give
are
up on
going.
it. You can give up on that, Krista. Take my wall away, please. So I actually completed one of my mentees, and I have been supporting Krista with Kathy. So we're sort of co-mentoring Kathy Grant, and I think it's going very well. She asks wonderful questions. She's very thoughtful and conscientious about her teaching. Being new
So this
and
is
teaching this
Krista's
process.
onboarding as a
Yes.
mentor. Is that okay? Very cool. So go ahead.
Okay. I understand. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So I said it backwards.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yes. Yeah. So I think it's going very well. I also think that Krista gives very good advice, and I'm glad that they're getting the co-teach because I see that Kathy relies on observation of Krista a lot, and the videotaping really helps as well.
So how far is she in the process?
Pretty far. She's been racking up the hours. We're doing the second 8-week series, and by the end of that, I think she'll have her teaching hours completed, which is her only goal, because she's been shadowing me and recording her sessions. And yeah, so she is committed to coming to level 2 in New York in October.
Excellent. Okay, and you think she's ready? I mean, not just in terms of hours, but in terms of preparedness.
I think it would really help her, actually. I think her weaknesses would be helped by coming to level 2.
So what are her strengths and weaknesses?
She's very good with clients. She has a really nice demeanor. She's very caring. She has good intentions. She was trained in the Shivananda tradition, so she can teach 22 poses with no props, and that's it.
Okay.
How to make the transition to
okay, so that's the challenge.
that needs a lot of props.
Yeah.
Level 2 would help her in that process, and she has a very strong practice personally as well, so she doesn't use the props herself. So I keep telling her to go home and practice with them.
Oh, she's older but really fit, right?
Yes.
And so she can't necessarily, from an experience point of view, relate to people who have limitations.
Right. She herself has osteoporosis and some issues with her neck, but not enough that you
to limit her
really
practice.
know or notice.
Okay.
Right. And you watch her practice, she has a very strong practice personally. So it's
how does she do with when she demonstrates? Is she going for the full Monty?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a process.
But she understands.
She understands, and as soon as you say it, she'll be like, "Oh, right, okay." Because she'll do the full thing first, and then she'll say, "But if you can't do that, do this."
Right.
And I'm always going to say, "Well, do the smaller one first, and say if you want more."
Right.
So
it's a buffet. There's no hierarchy.
Right. She's a lovely person to work with. Really, she's very
okay.
Nice.
Okay, so she's
getting there. She's
in a process.
Committed. She's on her process.
And Charlene, are you working with anybody else besides Kathy right now?
I'm not.
Okay, and do you have anybody else who you've worked with who's ready for level 2?
I have to circle back with her because I think for some reason she got a little disillusioned by the amount of time it was going to take.
Who is it?
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Hold on one second. I go through these brain things here.
Okay, Krista can probably pull it up. So the amount of time it was going to take, you mean, did she finish mentoring with you or she never finished?
She finished mentoring with me. Sandy Palmer.
Oh, Sandy.
Palmer. Yeah.
Okay, so you mean like how long the level 2 is? It's a long weekend.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I think after we finished mentoring, she wanted to move right along. And
and the level 2 wasn't available immediately. Okay, well, so Charlene, do you think it's best for you to reach out to her about New York, or do you want Krista to do it?
I don't mind doing it. I can CC you, Krista.
Why don't you CC Krista?
I'll check back with her and I'll CC you.
And just let her know it's coming up. She's eligible to attend. We'd love to have her. Does she have any questions?
Okay, for sure.
Okay. All right. Next.
I think Anne.
Anne, are you available? I know you're sort of.
Yes. I can speak a teeny bit for Anne that she did finish mentoring Shelley. I'm going to get her last name, Keller, who was apparently
Shelley.
good to work with. And Jamie's on and can speak to that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, why don't we switch over to Jamie? Jamie can talk about Shelley.
Yeah. So I will pass that to Jamie. And then she's working with John Tanner, who would like to be ready for New York, but I'm not sure the process.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like there's someone else, but since Anne can't join us live, we'll have to defer that. Mary is not currently mentoring anyone. And I do have the typed notes from the New York team about who they're currently mentoring.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah. So let's switch over to Jamie. Let's hear about where Shelley is. And I don't know what's going on with Peter, or did you try sending him an email?
I'll do that now.
Do that now, and Livy too, to see if either one of them can chime on to fill us in on New York. And in the meantime, Jamie, you want to tell us where Shelley is? She's done, right?
Yeah. Shelley completed. It was delightful. I mean, it was it was a good process all around. I think that she started with a lot of nerves, managing the class and understanding flow was a big problem. Wasn't a problem, but it was a challenge for her at the beginning, and that's why having the video was so crucial, because she's so bright and so enthusiastic and really, really wants to learn. All she had to do was watch. And she realized, like, for instance, on one of the first classes, she didn't realize that she spoke for 20 minutes before she had people move. And of course they were feeling the effects of that. And so, but, her adjustment from these realizations was very quick.
Okay.
I just thought the trajectory from the beginning to the end was just like straight up. And she was really, really excited. She brings her, physical therapy experience to it, but I could see that throughout she was incorporating embracing of props and had a really good grasp of how to manage people with different needs in the class, which is a kind of advanced skill. I mean, that's not always easy to do. Yeah, and I think she's just raring to go. So
I sometimes see this with physical therapists.
Yeah.
So not about Shelley in particular, but I'm just curious, was she focused primarily on musculoskeletal concerns, musculoskeletal, practices?
No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that so much.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it was so much in the background. I can't speak for Anne, but I think both of us, both Anne and I, wanted to encourage her to use all of her knowledge and experience. In a way, she almost was throwing it all out.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So I didn't find there was an overemphasis on that. And because her spiritual practice is pretty deep, and she's very interested in not only the practice that we do that involves the, the Anamaya Kosha. She's very interested in philosophy, so she was bringing that into class too, in a really
Great.
lovely.
Great.
Yeah.
Where do you think her learning is? What's she working on now, or what's her next step?
She was going to be offering a second series, and I hope that has taken place, happening right now. I would say her biggest, can I think about that for just like a minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
If I talk, I think mostly for Shelley and probably, any of us, even those of us with more experience, trusting her intuition, and understanding that she has all the tools that she needs, and to allow the client to reveal what she needs to be of most service.
Great. Okay. That's a high level skill.
I have every confidence that she can do it.
Great. Okay. So New York can't get on. Livy couldn't figure out the technology.
Peter is on. Okay, he says that he doesn't have his camera. So Peter says he's on. Let me double check if he.
Well, Peter, if you can hear us, can you either speak or type into the chat box? Is he calling in with a phone?
I'm not sure, because I can't enable any of his equipment. It says he's on, but it gives me no control of his equipment. So I'm not blocking him. So I don't understand why he's not here. I don't.
Okay. Well, if he can hear us, maybe he can.
Yeah.
Send you an email saying I can hear you.
Right.
And in the meantime,
back and forth.
Okay. Do you want to? You have typed notes from New York. Do you want to fill us in on what's going on from New York?
Yes. They Ken Steck is finished. He apparently did great. So he's ready to go. Now.
And who mentored him?
Let me get my notes. Sorry, I don't have it for me. Nancy. No, excuse me, Livy. This came from Livy. Everybody's CC'd, but it came.
Okay, so Ken is ready. So far we have Shelley, we have maybe John. We have Kathy. We have Ken.
Yes.
We have maybe Charlene's other.
Sandra.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there was, I'm not remembering her name now. I'd have to pull the records. She wasn't able to attend last year.
Oh, yeah.
Because of a wedding.
Yes.
But she's ready and really wants to come. And
I
think it'll hopefully work for her this year. She's a New York person.
Okay. And who else did they have?
I feel like Anne has somebody out, that person that's nagging at me.
Rose? Is that right?
No, Rose came to the level 2. I did.
Oh, Rose already did it. Okay.
Yeah, she already did it.
Okay. So I know about Ken because I was just in New York and I got a little bit of an update there. Who else do they have?
Natalie, apparently that's Livy's student that's taking some extra time. So
okay.
Livy's note just says it will take time.
Okay.
Eileen is supposed to be doing it, but is not prioritizing the time because she's been assigned to Livy, but she just kind of isn't getting there.
Natalie has some personal stuff. Okay. I know. Okay.
Peter is mentoring Peggy. And then Shua, but her note says that she's not sure where they're at. And unfortunately, Peter's still... Okay, he just sent a note saying that Shua will not be available for level 2, and Peggy's doing well and should be there for level 2.
Oh, okay. So is Shua making progress and she just won't be ready in time, or is she stuck?
She says that he says that she taught one class and observed, but then has been out of touch. So maybe she is having second thoughts. And yes, so that's that list.
Okay.
The others are about the mentors. So yes.
Okay. And then I am mentoring 2 recertifications. Jamie, did you just cover yourself?
Yes. I just want to focus on you.
You're beautiful. So there are 2 folks who attended the accessible yoga. Wait, no. I think one came to accessible yoga, the conference, and another one is doing Jivana's training in New York, which immediately followed. I have to talk to both of them about the details. So they both attended. So just so that everybody is aware, once you've done level 2, the next time when you're ready for recertification, there's a whole menu of options now of how you can recertify. And one of those ways is to attend a related training and then do sort of an integration project that brings together the arthritis material and this other training. So there were 2 people. One person attended the Accessible Yoga Conference, which just happened over this weekend, and another did Jivana's Accessible Yoga Teacher Training, which is a continuing ed program. And they will both be working with me on an integration project, either writing about the intersection between those areas or creating a workshop or a master class or some kind of a project that allows them to synthesize the material. Okay, so Krista, is that everybody's mentoring? Did we lose Krista?
Something strange happened because it says that I am now sharing. So it's like she somehow switched.
Oh, geez.
I can't see her. I can't see her either.
I can only see myself and Jamie's covered camera.
And I have something on the bottom of my screen says somehow Krista switched the presenter to me. So it says something on the bottom says start sharing, but I'm not.
Okay, Krista, are you there?
I'll email her.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
oh my goodness. Let me tell you guys, this software worked beautifully when we just did the lupus webinar.
Yeah, I listened to the rebroadcast. It was great.
So I thought we had found our platform. This is like, our 4th attempt at finding a decent video conferencing platform.
Okay. Krista says, someone dumped me. Can they turn me back on? I don't know. Let me see.
How did we dump her? We don't even have those controls.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't touching my computer.
Can you tell her none of us were touching anything and we have no idea how to, it says webcam is loading.
That was me. Charlene. That was me. I thought maybe that would help her. I don't know. I turned it back off, but I'll email her. That was the email she said.
Okay, none of us touched anything.
Are you going to email her, Charlene? Because I don't want to bombard her.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, I will. Okay.
Okay, and I will open up the agenda.
Oh, here. Oh, yeah, I got this. Somebody dumped me email from her. Oh, that's odd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, the next several items are about mentoring fees, which Krista is the one to speak about.
She should be back on in a minute. I think I did it.
Okay.
I don't know how, but
as soon as I recused all of us of blame, it turns out.
No, but now it keeps telling me I'm the presenter. And so I keep going. It says presenting, and it goes make Krista the presenter. I'm hitting that box. I understand. Oh, make Krista. Krista is now, do you see that?
I don't see anything.
Okay, so she should be presenting now. I'm sorry.
Okay. So there is one thing that I can speak to while we're trying to get Krista on, and Charlene, maybe you could keep trying.
It says it looks like it's loading.
Okay. So the difference so there are three different kinds of relationships between Yoga for Arthritis and you as teacher trainers. So this is a split from the mentoring conversation. I'm now talking about teacher trainings. And so there's been an adjustment to those levels. So one of the levels is we have a training scheduled and we contact one of you and we say, are you available to do this training? And if you say, yes, I'm available, then there's a flat fee that we pay you for fulfilling the training. And we are, fully responsible for, there's Krista. Hey, Krista, can you hear us?
I have no sound, so.
No, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah, but she might not be able to hear us.
Okay.
We hear you, Krista. Okay, so the other two are when you secure a training. So you decide you want to do a training in your community or in some city somewhere. You find the location. You have a relationship with that facility, and you want to offer a training there. And so there are two possible contract relationships for that. One is with administrative support and the other is without administrative support. So with administrative support means that we do a whole lot of work to help spread the word, market it, recruit participants, enroll them, support them, provide them with information, et cetera, et cetera. The first time that you offer a training on your own, we want you to use that model because we want you to have as much support as necessary when you're first learning the ropes. Because we're doing a lot to recruit participants, the arrangement is a split of the profit. So it's a 20% of the profit goes to Yoga for Arthritis, 80% of the profit goes to you, and that's after all of the expenses. So after whatever gets paid for materials and travel and space rental, etc. If you want to do this without administrative support from us, which certainly is the most cost effective, but also is the most work for you, then we don't ask for a split of the profit because we're not doing anything to contribute to the profit, except that you're using Yoga for Arthritis's intellectual property program materials, etc. In that case, you just pay us a flat fee of $300. And then no matter how many people you enroll, all of the profit is yours. Obviously you have whatever your expenses are. And we did that because it didn't make sense for us to be entitled to a share of your profit when we're not involved in how successful and how well recruited the training is. So regardless of which model you use, with admin or without admin, there's a $300 intellectual property fee. And then with the admin, you're paying us a percentage of your profit for our administrative support. Does that make sense? Do people have questions about that? I think this is most relevant to Anne, who's going to be teaching a couple of trainings this year. And so hopefully she'll watch this recording and we can answer any questions that she has. And it may also be relevant to New York, who's going to be offering the level 1 upcoming without my help. Did Krista just get kicked off again?
I don't know why. I'm not touching anything. It just keeps like defaulting to me for some reason. I don't understand it. And I'm not touching any buttons. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So for instance, in New York, and I know I'm just there kind of as a witness this time, but for the regular teachers who are doing that, do they How does that work? Is there like a flat fee for however many teachers may be involved in
Well,
the training?
right. So there's whatever the profit is that is made on the training.
Right.
And that gets split between integral. So the arrangement between the teachers and Yoga for Arthritis is different from the arrangement between the teachers and the facility. Okay? So in some cases, the facility is just renting you space. Mm-hmm. And then it's one of your expenses that comes out of the profit. Mm-hmm. But in the case of Integral, it's an integral program, and so they also are doing a whole bunch of stuff to market and support the training. So, and in fact, in the case of Integral, they're the ones collecting the payment. Mm-hmm. So Integral takes all of the registration, and they do a profit share. So let's say, I think the arrangement with them is either 50-50 or 60-40. So let's say Integral keeps 40% of the profit, and they give 60% of the profit to the teachers. Nancy, Livy, and Peter, it's up to them to decide how that 60% gets divided amongst them. So I don't know if they do it based on who taught how much of the content, or if there's a lead and the other two are considered assistants, and so they split it that way. Maybe it's based on time. So that's really between them. And then they just pay Yoga for Arthritis the $300 for the use of all of the materials. This last time they did it, we provided admin support. So we got 20, well, the arrangement was different, but how it would be this time is they would give us 20 out of the 60 that they're getting, because we provided the admin support. And I don't know, Krista, do you know if New York is doing this with or without admin this year?
I'm sorry, I don't know. We never really resolved the final paperwork issues in terms of what.
Okay, so that's something that we need to clarify with New York, because none of them are on the line. Whether they want.
Yeah, let me back. No, she can't. She's trying on her phone, and I guess it doesn't work particularly well on phone.
No, she gave up.
Yeah. Well, she apparently tried again and gave up a second time.
Oh. Okay. Well, in any case, so just note that we need to find out whether New York wants admin support or not. And so New York and Mary, Mary has to get admin support because it's going to be her first training. So let's just also make sure that Mary is aware of that arrangement. She'll see the contract. So we have full contracts for all of these arrangements, but so it's the decision of the teacher which one they want to do after the first one that has to have admin support.
Great.
Is there anything else that you want to add about that, Krista?
I apologize. When I got dumped, I don't know how much what you already covered. Were you going over the contracts?
Okay. I was going over the contracts and the change so that without admin, we don't get any of the profit. It's just the flat fee.
Okay. Did you talk about training manuals and the cost for those?
I did not.
Okay. So this has been coming up regularly with the cost of the training manuals. So the 2017 trainings, the fee for the training manuals was basically set last year before we sort of got a handle on our costs and our needs.
Well, can I just back us up a little bit more? Because
nice. You can
okay, sorry. So the training manuals, originally the cost was set with no consideration for time. It was just, what does it cost for the paper and the ink to be able to print these in my basement? And so we originally set the $30 materials fee, which then we realized it really is $40. We moved it up to $40, which is really all it costs to print and bind these manuals.
And it even costs more than that now.
And right. So we were doing it in my basement as opposed to at an actual printer. And the other thing that changed is that I'm paying Krista's time to do it. And so it's actually a whole lot more expensive when you factor in how much time it takes, not just for the printing, but for all of the time it takes to compile all the materials, edit them. You know, when you factor in everything that it costs me to get these things done, it's more like, $60 to $100.
Well, moving forward, so not the trainings that have been set for 2017. I don't think you announced on the call. We scheduled a new training for Anne in October in Denver, and she is setting that up, running the whole show. So she will be the first one impacted by these training manual increases. And we've set it at $60 for the digital materials, which if you take what Stephanie just said about the cost of the printing and creating, you might say, well, why are the digital manuals so high? And really what the cost of the manuals has to include is all that time I put into creating, editing, collating the materials, and then assembling it into a product we can give someone in any format. So we will be offering the digital materials at the cost of what it costs us to do it as a business. And then the printed materials are another fee on top of that, which includes only the cost of having them printed, which is $30. So moving forward, they can choose whichever option is going to work for them.
And the way
that they can choose to print on their own.
Right. So if they get the digital, they can print it. But also, I'm going to say that you, as the teacher trainer, have options about how you handle that cost. So we have to be paid for the materials, but it can be included in your training cost. So if you make the training more expensive and then everybody gets digital materials for free, then it doesn't feel like a nickel and dime, or it doesn't feel like a big fee for materials on top. So you could do that, and then people just pay the extra in order to get the paper version.
And there's for teacher trainers, there's no time for you to assemble these. They're all curated, ready to go. So it would be the digital copies are distributed over the computer. The printed copies, I can arrange, the printing with the print company that does that. They're sent directly to you. So it's not you as a teacher trainer having to put your time into assembling, Xeroxing, that kind of thing. So it's all done the same way as the PowerPoints are done, and you get those as the intellectual property to use that Stephanie already discussed.
And I will also add that we know that this cost is high, and we know that it is not ideal. And we are looking for ways to be able to reduce these expenses in the future so that it doesn't cost us so much, and therefore that cost doesn't have to be so high that's passed on to the participant.
Yes,
but,
and one way that this would be win-win for everybody. The more people we train, the cheaper it is actually, because the costs are spread over more people. So the more successful we are, actually, the way we can get this cost down. And then as well as moving forward, we are very open to creative ways to make this less expensive. So Stephanie's mentioned how she wants
the better our materials get, the less revision we have to do every year. There will always be updating that has to happen because there are always, new research articles that come out, new facts that have to be changed. Something we realized is in there that doesn't make sense. There has to be an annual revision process. But my hope is that as we get this more refined, that takes less time and therefore less cost.
Yes, as well, definitely.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
So it's $60 for the digital, $90 for the printing, or $90 if you go for the other version, hard copy. And does that include shipping?
It would, yes, if you get the printed copy. So the digital, there's no shipping cost,
Right.
So
no,
yes.
I understand. But
yes,
so
it doesn't.
That's complete. Okay.
Yes. So the 90 would be the complete cost of the manual. Yes, fully. And that includes the other thing, to be more specific as well, is this also includes the teacher's manual. So we're not just talking about the training binder that had the PowerPoint lectures. This fee does include the teacher's manual.
Right. The one, which is basically the research protocol.
Yes.
With all of the class plans and the articles. Right. So it used to be, so those used to be separate.
And a spiral bound notebook. So if you're thinking, what does this entail? That is now all combined into one document. And that also represents a slight increase in the cost, is that $40, it didn't even cover the binder, let alone the teacher's manual.
And also, this includes what it costs to print and ship the additional folder of materials that we provide even to people who get the digital copy, because there are some things that you need on paper because you need to be able to actually use them during the training.
So like the quizzes that
Right.
the evaluations for their teaching experience, the evaluations for the training, you as a teacher trainer, those YFA materials that change frequently enough, we didn't want to bind them up for the year, the agenda. So there's a small packet of printed materials
that folder
from us on every training.
Right, that folder and all of that stuff is included in the digital cost.
In the digital cost, right.
Because everybody gets it.
Because everybody gets it. So, and that's partly why, if you think about, the discrepancy here, it's the digital includes absolutely everything except for the literal printing of the printed manual and the shipping of the said printed manual. And
will you make it available? Will it be possible at some time as mentors to just see on a one sheet, like the breakdown of option A and option B and everything that's included and all of that? Do you know what I mean? Just side by side?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean.
For the two different types of training contracts, or for the digital versus?
I think that just I guess it'd be interesting for the contract too. Just to, it's so interesting because I realized recently how visual I am, but in learning, just for me to kind of grok what you get with the digital and what you get with the printed, and you mentioned with the digital you're going to get some hard copy because you need it. So now I'm like trying to put it all together, and I'm just wondering if there could be a one sheet that has two columns that says, here's what you get.
Sure.
Something like that. That might be really helpful.
Yeah, Jamie, since you're not the teacher trainer yet, sorry, we have all our little classes. We have on Google Drive, for those of you who are teacher trainers, we have the Google Drive with all the documents preloaded on it. So as you move through this process, I can get you access to that so you would see.
Yeah, but also to her point, Krista, I think that it would be helpful for people who are trying to decide between digital and print, if there could just be two columns that has digital and the cost, print and the cost, and then what's in each of those packages.
It's kind of the same. I could give a photo of the book. Because they're
but it's going to have each item and whether you get it digitally or print.
Yeah, but you get the same. Yeah, it's because it's.
I know you get all the materials, but it's some of them you're getting digitally, some of them you're getting hard copy.
Right. If you think people would like to know they're getting the certain things, because you get, okay, I can do a printout. Sorry.
I think that because, to make a case for how much value this is, it's helpful to know all the stuff you're getting, because a lot of trainings don't give you, a gazillion research articles and a whole manual with a 16 course series with all of the images of modifications and all the PowerPoints and, and a bunch of discount codes and. So I think that, it helps for people to know the value that they're getting.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next.
Did you guys, when I was having sound troubles, did you guys discuss
we did not do the
mentorship application in that process when we were transitioning? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to backtrack then, flip-flop out of training.
We didn't do mentoring fees.
Okay. So unfortunately, Nancy was not able to join us. She wanted to discuss fees. So we can have that conversation, as well as one loose end from last time. Peter suggested we work up a mentorship application, which I did, and you all received copies of, and said that looks really good. In conjunction with that, we thought it would be best to start asking for the mentors to pay a mentorship application fee, because we've had several people be interested. I take all the admin time of setting them up. You as mentors start to work with them.
Wait. What you mean is for the mentee to pay an application fee, not the mentor.
I said mentorship application fee.
Yeah. So for the mentee.
Yes. It's the mentees are paying YFA. And it had been in the past that the fee was there. It just worked into the mentorship structuring fee of what you as mentors were paying YFA. So we're basically separated that out so that you as mentors don't have to be involved in that, and that covers my cost of setting them up in case they bail immediately, which has happened a couple times recently. And it helps get them some immediate skin in the game as well. So if they're stepping up to this level, they're showing they're interested. Also, in conjunction with that, we're going to start requiring mentees to be at least community level members. Part of the strong advocacy for that was to give them access to the back end of the website. So, for example, those people who are currently in mentoring who want to step up for this October training, they did not receive the training in the joint replacements lecture. So there's, depending on what year you did the level 1, you're going to have a different background than everybody else. And so to help get everyone on the same page, so you as mentors are not having to, dole this out individually, that gives them access to the most recent training materials with the expectation that they would bring themselves up to speed on any.
Well, you can also, as mentors, say, I think that you could benefit from reviewing this material. Here's a bunch of stuff that's on the back end that might be a good idea to revisit.
Right. So we thought that really facilitated the process and helped you as mentors have to take less individual time for exactly what Stephanie was just saying about these issues, as well as help keep everybody on the same page. So those fees don't impact you as mentors. It's something we're asking the mentees to pay. And frankly, it also shows, encourages the level of commitment that it's going to take to be the level 2 teacher anyway as well.
Right. And this way, in situations where YFA ends up doing work, but then the mentor doesn't because they don't follow through, we at least get our time covered.
Yes. So that was just the minor loose end. Would anybody like to talk about the mentoring fees? I know Nancy's not here, but just to throw it out, if anybody else has anything to bring to the table on that.
Did we decide on a standard fee?
We have in the past, yes. It's been $50 for all the mentors except for Stephanie, who got the 100. And
$50 per hour, right?
Excuse me, per hour. And Nancy was concerned that was no longer tenable for her. Mm-hmm. And Stephanie and I had concerns about, what that would mean to the mentees if everyone went to that scale. And so we thought it was worth a group discussion, to throw it out to you as mentors. It's like, how is this experience for you? How is it impacting you? What are our options?
Well, it probably does make a difference if you're mentoring more than one person or several people, because that takes up a lot of time. So I can understand Nancy's position in the sense that if she has several mentees and that limits her from doing other things, then it behooves that her hourly rate would go up. That makes sense. I am also, though, of the position that I'd like to keep it affordable for
right. That's the challenge,
so that we can encourage more to join our community. So,
and I think the market differs between locations.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. New York it's expensive and people's time is valuable, but and what we had thought perhaps is, if you as mentors would like to be involved in individually setting fees, we no longer have to make it the same fee for everyone. That again has pluses and minuses, but that is something
right.
Well.
I'm concerned about that for a few reasons, about setting a lot of different prices for this. One is that people are shopping by price instead of getting matched with a mentor that makes sense for them, and also, if everybody raises their fees, then there would not be affordable options. And I don't want, they're already paying for the level 1 and level 2 trainings, and I don't want that step between those two to be cost prohibitive so that people don't continue. At the same time, I certainly recognize that fee might not work for everybody, I also think that, if it's too much time, you can say, I only want to work with one person at a time, or, maybe there are other ways to think about this, but those are my concerns.
Yeah. And it's a tough question, and each has pros and cons, but it was worth having a discussion. And if you as a group, and I know that we're recording this, and so lots of people aren't here. So if we get other feedback from people as we have this conversation, we can take that under consideration. And perhaps it's just a choice that Nancy needs to make independent of the rest of the group. And that could be okay too. So, okay, well, if everybody's good on that, I will move on.
Yeah, and that might be a conversation, Krista, that we have again at another point in the future when more of the people who have concerns are, exactly. Okay, and then the YFA team structure.
Yes.
Can you put that document up?
I can. I will put it up, and you guys can read. It is a vertical document, so it's going to obscure the screen here a little bit. So we are growing as an organization, and we have all of you who are lovely to help us. We have a new group of teachers that is very engaged. But as we get larger and more spread out, it's hard for all of us to recognize, well, what are our individual roles? How can we contribute in perhaps new ways? If you're looking as potentially, say, a teacher, to get a little more involved with us as the staff, quote staff. So I put together this document that it talks about us as a team and what the different ways we can contribute and our different responsibilities and roles in the organization. So of course I will get this to everybody printed. Basically the top, yes, it covers the situation, and then our two main aspects of us as an organization with the education component and then the outreach component of what we do. Of course, trying to provide the best yoga services to people to be able to deal with their disease process in a way that works for them.
And I'll also say that we are moving toward, what happened, Krista?
Oh, I turned off it, sorry.
We are moving toward becoming a nonprofit. I don't know, how quickly that's going to happen. But in that process, it's going to be critical that we get engagement and involvement from, plenty of stakeholders, so that we move from an organization that's essentially run by Krista and me to what I really envisioned for this from the start, which is that it's a community-based organization that has involvement of the stakeholders it serves, which includes the teacher trainers, the teachers and therapists, and the people who work with them, the clients and students. So hopefully we move toward a model where people are engaged and involved in helping this organization to succeed, setting us up for being a thriving nonprofit down the road.
I can't see all of you, and that's a problem with the software. So to get more discussion going, to have an actual talk, I clicked it off the screen. But like I said, I will get everybody that as a document, and it's something moving forward we'd like all the new teachers to get as well, because it can be a little overwhelming. You have all this enthusiasm, you want to get involved in the organization, and it's hard to know how you fit. So does anybody have any, whether it's feedback or interest in being, more involved in teamwork in different ways, or have any suggestions how to onboard different aspects of our group differently? It's just you, Jamie, and Charlene, so it's an intimate conversation.
Yeah. My primary interest right now is, of course, I'm going to be with the group in the fall, which I'm really excited about in New York. Sorry, I'll take that down. And the other thing is I'd like to focus mostly as needed on the mentoring, just because my life is pretty full. I mean, just sitting here, I kind of was brainstorming and thinking, gee, it might be fun at some point to lead a training with Charlene. I mean, I haven't even talked to Charlene about that, but sorry,
I might have an idea for you. We have some ideas coming up, so
yeah, but
don't speak too loud.
mostly my ideas right now around involvement include the fall and then mentoring as needed.
Great.
And Krista, I'm willing to do some outreach as well. I think you know that Stephanie and I met with the Yoga Center of Columbia, so we have quite a few ideas sort of brewing with them for 2018.
Yeah.
And I know I can't do all the training, but I think that that's going to be a very good connection. Another thing that's happening in Maryland is a conversation with different yoga communities about starting a retreat center.
Yes, you mentioned they were working
So
on
the group has come together and formed a nonprofit, but it would be even a board of nonprofits that would be administering the retreat center, but it would be something that would be open for the whole community, the state
Charlene,
as well as the region. Yes.
we're also in conversations with MUIH.
Oh, good. Good.
So perhaps you'd like to be involved if we do that. It would be a hybrid that would be online and in person. So it would be less campus time.
Yeah, okay.
But we could talk about that too.
Certainly. Yeah. One other suggestion I had is that after, I mean, I had this luxury, and that's been just because I was living closer to Stephanie and working with her in a different way. And it doesn't have to fall on Stephanie, but once folks go through and become yoga for arthritis teachers, that either there's a buddy system or some kind of check-in with them so that they feel supported in that way as well. And I think that can be sort of on a voluntary basis of some sort. I do have a couple of teachers that will reach out to me because they know me and we were in class together, but I think that that's important to keep them excited before they move on,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really, I think what works beautifully is when, especially in these places where we've offered trainings, and particularly when we've offered trainings multiple times, is that we get kind of a community of teachers who can support each other in a particular location. So, the most successful example of this is New York, where they're all teaching the class together and they have a schedule and they're taking turns, and it has not taken off quite so successfully in other locations, but there have been places. We had one in Maryland for a while when Jen was, so I know, Charlene, that you're in Maryland, but there's a big difference between Towson and Columbia.
Yeah, in Baltimore and Columbia.
So there was a yoga for arthritis class in Baltimore for a while with rotating teachers. And I think that really works beautifully because you can sort of, share experiences and talk about what's going on for particular students. And, it's a nice way of supporting each other. I don't know how we can foster that same sort of model in other locations.
I'd be very open to having teachers come on to my Saturday morning therapeutic class and teaching, and I can observe them. Dana was coming for a while.
Right.
Just.
But she's in Virginia, right? So that's
right,
or Annapolis.
She's in Virginia. Yeah, she's in Virginia. So we'll see once we start cultivating more folks in Maryland and around. I'm certainly open to that.
That's generous of you, Charlene. Thank you. And speaking to your buddy system idea, it could be something as simple as we just put it out there. Any teacher that we've already trained who's willing to talk to other people. It doesn't have to be a hugely formal thing. Like I started that Facebook group to help as one tiny little aspect of that. Not to say it's the same as reaching somebody individually, but just to provide more and more platforms for that. And we do actually have that functionality on the new website as well, but we kind of haven't reached critical mass to have it be of value yet, because that would be lovely to see happen as well.
Yeah, we can even share with the group, who's looking for a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we could be a matching service.
Yeah, YFAmatch.com.
So we'll continue to have that conversation, because it helps. We need to be able to I won't say seamlessly, but we need to be able to interact together in a way that we're supporting you in your role as mentors. You're supporting the teachers coming up. The teachers know if they have an issue, that they would come to us as staff, when they would go to you. Try and get some of those organizational issues resolved that you would expect to see in an organization of some size. So that's some of the goal there, is both logistics, and then as well as Stephanie spoke to, if we're going to be a nonprofit, we need to have some stakeholders that are involved in a variety of ways. So just trying to help introduce some ways for those people who are really interested in getting involved, how they see they fit. So feel free, once you have a chance to look at it and read it over, feel free to shoot back any ideas if you think there's areas we missed or would really like to get involved in, or even volunteer someone else, because they're not on the call to speak up for themselves.
Yeah, I'll also say, from a teacher trainer perspective, we are getting included in more and more yoga therapy programs. So we are now officially transfer credit for Phoenix Rising. So anybody who takes our training can apply it to their Phoenix Rising 800 hour. We are also part of Try Yoga's 800 hour. We are also part of Integral's 800 hour, which still is in the process of applying for accreditation. But as we become a part of all of these programs, we're going to be offering those trainings, very regularly. And those need to be staffed. So those are ongoing opportunities. And I think also that makes it important for us to really have a presence in the field of yoga therapy. I wanted to mention the stuff that's going on with Yoga International, because so I wrote that wrist article, and I also filmed 2 workshops. And those workshops are primarily for people with arthritis, but also might be of interest to yoga professionals. One on yoga for arthritis in general, the other specifically about knees. But depending on that success, there's the possibility of offering content specifically for yoga professionals. And I think, that's really our space, is training and providing continuing education for yoga professionals, both teachers and therapists. And there's going to be more and more of a need for us to be able to offer programs that are hybrid programs and online programs. So we're expanding in that direction, because when we travel around the country, we can only hit so many people. And there are certainly limitations to delivering this material online, but the technology gets better and better, perhaps not evidenced by this conference meeting. But we're looking for ways to be able to get this content to people, and of course that's going to require our staff and our cadre of mentors and teacher trainers to continue to grow, to keep up with that expansion. And there are so many people living with arthritis, it's ridiculous, and that's growing. And the interest in yoga is enormous, and that's growing. And so there's going to be no shortage of opportunities. So we just need you to keep in touch with us about what you want to do and how much and where, so that we can try to match those opportunities with your interests and skills. Anything we didn't cover on your end, Krista, or for any for either?
We're out of time as well, so I'm sure you all have other things to move on to. Charlene, you had something you wanted to say there.
Just really quickly, Stephanie, have you thought about of an advisory committee prior to your quote unquote board
Yeah.
putting together?
Yeah, I need that, Charlene. And, as soon as I drop one of my 4 jobs, then I'm going to get right on that.
Okay, well, just holler if you need some support in getting that structure together. And I say as easy as putting together an advisory committee that meets twice a year until you're ready, or once a quarter. Doesn't have to be that deep, but that's those beginning steps towards becoming a nonprofit and bringing in community. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you and I might need to talk. I have like 3 IRB applications that I'm working on for research studies that I'm an investigator on. So I'm like, and I've been on the road like crazy. So I'm not kidding when I say that I'm trying to quit one of my 4 jobs, not the one of mother and spouse.
Right.
But it wouldn't be a bad idea, Charlene, for you and I to meet so that you can kind of keep me from losing momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it's something that I wouldn't mind supporting you with, and you just let me know what you need and who you're interested in having. Give me that information or anybody else, and we can pull something together. And by the time we do, our technology will be so smooth, we'll just post the meeting online. It will not even be an issue.
I really thought this platform was promising.
Yeah, I use Zoom. I use Zoom. It's like for dummies.
It's really expensive.
Yeah, but we're surfing the cheap brands here, and we're getting the cheap brand experience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because we want to be able to have multiple people on, and the more you do, the more Zoom costs. So
yeah, for sure, understandable.
All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Charlene, I'm going to take you up on that. Let's plan a work session.
Okay. All right. So when do you have some downtime? June or July?
Right.
When's your downtime?
2018.
Okay. No, before that.
Okay.
All righty. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, Krista.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay.